Chapter 1. The Abandoned Child. Imagine your father throws a massive celebration because you're born with a blood cloth clenched in your tiny fist. Most babies arrive crying. You arrive looking like you've already won your first fight. Your tribe takes one look and basically says, well, that's either very good or very bad. Fortunately for you, and unfortunately for just about everyone else in Asia, they're right. You were born around 1162, somewhere on the endless Mongolian steppe, where the grass stretches farther than your eyes can see and the wind never seems to stop. There are no castles, no towering cities, and definitely no cozy villages. Home is wherever your family's felt tent happens to be today. Your entire world moves with horses, sheep, and the changing seasons. If someone asks for your address, the answer would basically be, keep riding east until you find us. Your name is Temujin. According to tradition, your father names you after an enemy warrior he recently captured. Now imagine naming your newborn after someone you defeated. It's kind of like the medieval equivalent of Messi naming his son Ronaldo. It's strange, but on the steppe, strength is respected, even in your enemies. Your father, Yesuge, is an important chief among the Mongol tribes. He's respected, feared, and has enough allies that your family enjoys a level of security many others don't. From the moment you can walk, you're expected to ride horses, hunt animals, survive freezing winters, and learn that falling off a galloping horse is simply part of childhood. There are no playgrounds here. The playground is nature trying to kill you every day. As you grow older, life seems surprisingly stable. You ride beside your father across endless grasslands, watching him negotiate with tribal leaders, settle disputes, and occasionally remind stubborn rivals why arguing with him is a bad career decision. You're learning lessons that no classroom could ever teach. On the steppe, leadership isn't inherited. It has to be earned every single day. Around the age of 9, your father decides it's time to arrange your future marriage. Romance has absolutely nothing to do with it, by the way. Love can come later if it wants. Politics comes first. You travel to another tribe where you meet a young girl named Borte. She's intelligent, confident, and close to your age. The families agree that one day the two of you will marry. For now, you stay with her family while your father rides home alone. Everything seems perfectly ordinary, which in history usually means something terrible is about to happen. On his journey home, your father stops to eat with a group of strangers. Hospitality is sacred across the steppe, and refusing food would be deeply insulting. Unfortunately, these strangers are Tartars, old enemies with excellent memories. They recognize him and decide revenge tastes even better than dinner. They quietly poison his food. By the time he reaches home, he is dying. News reaches you quickly. You rush back, but there's nothing anyone can do. Your father dies, and with him disappears the only shield protecting your family, and you are barely 10 years old. One moment you're the son of a respected chief, the next you're simply another boy with no powerful father. On the Mongolian steppe, that change is about as comforting as finding out your parachute isn't working mid-air. You assume your father's followers will stand beside your family. After all, they've shared victories, hardships, and loyalty for years. Instead, they gather their animals, pack their tents, and leave. Just leave. No emotional farewell, no dramatic speeches. One tribe leader reportedly tells your family that the deep water has dried up and the shining stone has broken. It's a poetic way of saying you're on your own now. Brutal, but surprisingly efficient. Suddenly, your family has almost nothing. The horses disappear with the tribe, the wealth disappears, the protection disappears. Your mother, Holan, refuses to give up. Every day she drags the family across the wilderness, searching for roots, berries, wild onions, fish, and whatever animals that can be trapped. You survive because she refuses to let any of her children die. Without her, history probably never hears the name Genghis Khan. Life becomes painfully simple. Every meal is uncertain, winters feel endless, and hunger never really leaves. You begin hunting tiny animals, catching fish, and learning that survival depends entirely on your own effort. Every mistake has consequences. Every success means your brothers and sisters eat another day. Childhood ends much earlier than anyone would choose. As the eldest surviving son, responsibility lands squarely on your shoulders. The problem is that responsibility doesn't magically create food. Hunger breeds arguments, and arguments on the steppe can become dangerous surprisingly fast. One day, a dispute erupts between you and your older half-brother, Bekter, over food and authority. He increasingly acts as though he should control the family. You see him less as a brother and more as someone threatening everyone's survival. The tension builds until one afternoon, you and your younger brother, Kassar, make a decision that cannot be undone. Together, you track Bektor across the hills. He realizes what's happening but doesn't resist. You loose your arrows and Bektor falls dead. Just like that, your own brother is gone. It's shocking even by the harsh standards of the steppe. Your mother is devastated. She scolds you fiercely, reminding you that enemies already surround your family and that brother should never become one of them. It's one of the first lessons you will struggle with throughout your life. Sometimes survival demands terrible choices, but terrible choices always leave scars. You may convince yourself the killing was necessary. Forgetting it is another matter entirely. The years pass, and your reputation slowly begins spreading across neighboring tribes. Not as a great leader, but as a determined young survivor who refuses to disappear. Unfortunately, someone else notices too. The Tai Chi, a rival group connected to your own extended family, see you as a potential threat. Better to eliminate problems while they're still teenagers than wait until they become adults with armies. It's an unpleasant management strategy, but a common one. One day you're captured. Heavy wooden restraints are locked around your neck like a portable prison. Every movement becomes exhausting. Guards watch you constantly while the tribe celebrates, convinced your story is finished. You're displayed almost like a trophy, a reminder of what happens to ambitious boys without powerful protectors. For many people, this will be the end, but you've spent your entire life adapting. You begin studying your captors. Who pays attention? Who gets careless? Which guards stay alert and which ones become lazy after sunset? Survival has taught you that every prison has a weakness. You just need patience long enough to find it. Eventually, opportunity appears. One evening, your captors become distracted and you make your move. Burdened by the heavy wooden collar, you run into the darkness across the open steppe. Horses search for you, men shout into the night. There's almost nowhere to hide. The grassy plains aren't exactly skyscrapers. Desperate, you throw yourself into a nearby river and sink beneath the water, leaving only your face barely above the surface to breathe. Searchers ride past again and again, and one man finally notices you. His name is Sorkan Shira. He has every reason to hand you over. Instead, he quietly chooses mercy. Rather than betray you, he hides you, removes your wooden collar, and helps you escape completely. One stranger's decision changes the course of world history. He has absolutely no idea what he's just unleashed. Free once again, you return to your family, not as a helpless child who lost everything years earlier, but as someone who now understands exactly how cruel, unpredictable, and fragile power really is. You've experienced betrayal, starvation, murder, abandonment, and captivity before reaching adulthood. Most people would spend the rest of their lives recovering from even one of those experiences, and yours have barely been the introduction. Ahead lies marriage, powerful allies, devastating enemies, and a chain of events that will transform Temujin, the abandoned boy of the steppe, into the man history will remember as Genghis Khan. Chapter 2. The Birth of Genghis Khan. You finally return to the one future your father had managed to arrange before his death. After years of surviving on almost nothing, you ride back to claim your promised bride, Borte. Thankfully, her family keeps their word. In a world where alliances shift as quickly as the wind, that's no small thing. You and Borte marry, and for the first time in years, life begins to resemble something close to stability. You finally have someone standing beside you, instead of simply trying to survive another winter alone. As a wedding gift, Borte's family presents you with a magnificent sable fur coat. It looks warm, expensive, and honestly far fancier than anything you've ever owned. Most people would keep it. You immediately give it away, which sounds like a terrible financial decision, until you explain why. You present the coat to Togro, the powerful ruler of the Keret tribe and an old ally of your late father. It's more than a gift though, it's an investment in your future. You're basically saying, remember my father? Yeah, I really appreciate not dying, thank you. Fortunately, Togro remembers. Impressed by your respect and loyalty, he accepts you as a political ally and promises his support. It's one of the smartest decisions you ever make. On the steppe, powerful friends are worth far more than expensive clothing. Around this time, you also reconnect with a young warrior named Jamuka. The two of you swear the traditional oath of Anda, meaning blood brothers. This isn't ordinary friendship. It's a lifelong promise to stand together through victory and disaster. The two of you become inseparable. You hunt together, ride together, laugh together, and dream together. If anyone asked who your closest ally would be for life, Jamuka would probably be the first name that came to mind. Life unfortunately enjoys ruining friendships though. Not long after your marriage, disaster strikes again. While your camp sleeps, the Merkit tribe launches a surprise attack. They are seeking revenge for something that happened long before you were born. You see, years earlier, your father had kidnapped your mother, Holon, from the Merkits to make her his wife. Now they are returning the favor. You end up paying the bill for someone else's decisions. Life has an annoying habit of doing that. The attackers overwhelm your camp, and amid the chaos, Borte is captured and carried away into the darkness. You escape with your life, but your wife is gone. Everything you've managed to rebuild seems to collapse overnight. Again. Instead of giving in to despair, you start gathering help. This time, you're not completely alone. You ride to Togru, who honors his promise. Then you seek out Jamuka, your blood brother. Without hesitation, both agree to help you rescue Borte. For one brief moment, your allies are united. Together, you assemble a powerful force and launch a lightning attack against the Merkit camps. The battle is swift and devastating. The Merkits barely have time to react before their camps descend into chaos. You search desperately through the confusion until, at last, you find Borte alive. The reunion is emotional, but complicated. Borte has spent months in captivity and soon gives birth to a son named Jochi. Whispers immediately begin spreading across the tribe. Is Jochi really your son, or is he the child of one of the Merkit captors? You publicly accept him as your own without hesitation. Whether you privately wrestle with doubts is something history can never fully answer. The rumors, however, never completely disappear. Decades later, they will return to haunt your empire in ways no one can yet imagine. With Borte safely home, your influence begins growing rapidly. Families that have lost faith in cruel tribal chiefs begin joining your camp. Something about your leadership feels different. You don't care nearly as much about noble birth as everyone else does. If someone is loyal, brave, and capable, you reward them. It doesn't matter whether they were born into an important family or not. That idea is surprisingly revolutionary. It's also an excellent way to annoy every important person in Mongolia. Former servants become officers. Talented warriors rise through merit instead of family connections. Many ordinary people love this system. Many powerful chiefs absolutely hate it. Funny how that works. As your followers multiply, cracks begin appearing in your friendship with Jamuka. The two of you no longer see the future the same way. Jamuka believes the old noble family should remain in charge. You believe loyalty and ability matter more than ancestry. It's no longer just a disagreement between friends. It's a completely different vision for Mongolia. Eventually, your followers begin choosing sides. Camps divide, friendships end, and the blood brotherhood slowly falls apart. The breaking point finally comes. Jamuka separates from your camp, taking many warriors with him. One day you wake up and realize your closest friend has become your greatest rival. That's probably not how either of you imagined this story ending. War becomes unavoidable. The first major clash between your forces ends badly for you. Jamuka defeats your army, proving he's every bit as skilled as you feared. Then he makes a decision that shocks even people living on the brutal Mongolian steppe. He reportedly boils several captured commanders alive. Jesus. It's horrifying, even by the standards of the time. Many tribes consider it unnecessarily cruel. Ironically, Jamuka may have won the battle while losing something much more valuable: his reputation. More tribes begin drifting toward your side. They don't just want a strong leader. They want one they believe is fair. You continue building alliances one tribe at a time. Sometimes through diplomacy, sometimes through marriage, sometimes through battle. Every victory brings more horses, more warriors, and more confidence. Slowly, the abandoned boy no one wanted to follow becomes the leader everyone has to pay attention to. You also develop strict rules for your growing army. Discipline becomes everything. Looting without permission is punished. Cowardice is punished. Disobeying orders is punished. It sounds harsh, but compared to the endless chaos of tribal warfare, many warriors actually prefer it. At least everyone knows the rules. You organize soldiers into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000. It's remarkably efficient. Every warrior knows exactly where they belong and exactly who they answer to. Many armies across the world are still relying on confusing feudal obligations, while you're quietly building something far more organized. Your reputation spreads beyond Mongolia. Neighboring tribes begin hearing stories about the young leader who escaped slavery, rescued his wife, and keeps defeating rivals despite starting with almost nothing. Some decide to join you willingly, others decide to fight. The ones who choose the second option generally don't enjoy the experience. Year after year, your coalition grows stronger, while your enemies become increasingly isolated. One by one, rival tribes fall under your control. Some surrender after defeat, others willingly swear loyalty once they realize resistance is becoming less and less practical. The balance of power across the steppe is now shifting, and everyone can feel it. Then comes the confrontation everyone has been expecting. You and Jamuka face each other once more in the struggle that will decide who will lead the Mongolian tribes. This time, fortune favors you. Jamuka's support begins collapsing as more of his followers defect to your side. Even some of his own men lose faith in him. Eventually, they betray him and deliver him into your hands. Your oldest friend, your blood brother, is now your prisoner. You offer him one final chance to stand beside you again. Jamuka refuses. He tells you there cannot be two suns in the sky or two rulers over the Mongols. One of you has to disappear. He asks for a noble death without blood being spilled. You grant his request, and whatever remains of your friendship ends that day. With Jamuka gone, no rival strong enough to challenge you remains. In 1206, tribal leaders gather for a great assembly known as a Kurultai. After decades of warfare, betrayal, survival, and impossible odds, they proclaim you the supreme ruler of a united Mongol nation. You receive a new title, Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler or oceanic ruler. Not bad for the abandoned kid everyone left behind years earlier. But conquering Mongolia is only the tutorial level. Beyond the steppe lie kingdoms, empires, walled cities, millions of people, and rulers who have absolutely no idea you're about to knock on their front door. Chapter 3. The empire that shook the world. Standing at the head of united Mongolia, you finally have what seemed impossible for most of your life: peace among your own people. Of course, now that every neighboring ruler has heard your name, that peace isn't going to last very long. A united steppe is something Asia hasn't really seen before. Many kingdoms dismiss you as just another tribal chief with horses. That assumption is about to become one of history's most expensive mistakes. Instead of simply raiding your neighbors, you begin building an empire. You strengthen your army, improve communication across the steppe, and create a messenger network where riders can carry information across enormous distances with astonishing speed. It's kind of like the medieval version of instant messaging, except the notifications arrive on horseback. You also introduce laws known collectively as the Yasa. The code emphasizes discipline, loyalty, military order, and harsh punishments for serious crimes. Stealing from your fellow soldiers, abandoning your units, or disobeying orders can all bring severe consequences. Rules are strict, but they transform thousands of independent warriors into one disciplined fighting force. It promotes people based on talent instead of noble birth. If a shepherd proves to be an exceptional commander, he can rise through the ranks. If an aristocrat performs poorly, his family name won't save him. On the Mongolian steppe, that's almost revolutionary. Before expanding farther west, you first turn toward the Tangut kingdom of Western Xia. The campaign succeeds and the kingdom agrees to recognize your authority and pay tribute. It's a valuable victory, but it also serves another purpose. Your warriors gain experience attacking fortified cities instead of simply fighting on open grasslands. Soon after, your attention shifts towards the much larger Jin dynasty in northern China. Unlike the steppe, China is filled with massive cities protected by towering walls. Charging straight at them on horseback isn't exactly a winning strategy. So you adapt. You've been adapting your entire life. You recruit engineers from conquered territories, learn siege warfare, and begin using catapults, siege towers, and other technology that many steppe warriors had never needed before. Every campaign teaches you something new, and every lesson makes your army even more dangerous. Cities that once believed their walls made them untouchable begin discovering that walls only work if the people outside don't know how to break them. Year after year, more territory falls under your control. Your reputation spreads even faster than your armies. Sometimes entire towns surrender before you even arrive. People have heard the stories. They know resisting can end very badly. At the same time, cities that surrender peacefully are often spared. Skilled craftsmen, scholars, engineers, and doctors are frequently protected and brought into your growing empire. You're not interested in destroying useful knowledge. You're interested in collecting it. An engineer who builds excellent siege machines is worth far more alive than dead. Then comes the event that changes everything. You send a large trade caravan west into the Khwarezmian Empire, hoping to establish peaceful commerce. Trade benefits everyone. Merchants make money, kingdoms grow richer, and nobody has to spend months riding across deserts trying to conquer each other. It seems like a sensible plan. Instead, disaster strikes. The governor of the city of Otra accuses your merchants of being spies. He arrests them, confiscates their goods, and has them executed. It's a serious insult, but you still don't rush into war. You send diplomats to the Khwarezmian ruler, Shah Muhammad, asking him to punish the governor and preserve peace. The Shah responds by executing one ambassador and humiliating the others before sending them back. At this point, you've given diplomacy every opportunity to work. The Shah has essentially said, "Go ahead, do your worst." That decision will haunt him almost immediately. In 1219, your armies begin one of the most astonishing military campaigns in history. Instead of attacking from one direction, you divide your forces into multiple armies, moving across mountains, deserts, and rivers simultaneously. Cities expecting you from the east suddenly discover Mongol cavalry appearing from completely different directions. Defenders never seem to know where you're coming from next. One by one, major cities, including Bukhara and Samarkand, fall into your hands. After capturing Bukhara, you tell its people that if they had not committed great sins, heaven would not have sent a punishment like you. What a cold way to put fear into your enemies' hearts. Some cities resist fiercely and suffer devastating consequences. Others surrender immediately and are spared the worst destruction. Word spreads quickly across Central Asia. Fighting the Mongols can be catastrophic, but surrendering often offers a chance to survive. Psychology becomes one of your greatest weapons. Sometimes fear wins battles before your soldiers even arrive. Meanwhile, Shah Muhammad abandons city after city, fleeing across his empire while desperately searching for safety. You refuse to let him escape. Your generals pursue him across thousands of kilometers in one of history's longest military chases. Eventually, the exhausted Shah dies while hiding on an island in the Caspian Sea. His enormous empire collapses with him. But your generals aren't finished. Two of your finest commanders, Subutai and Jeb, continue riding west on what begins as a pursuit mission and gradually turns into an incredible reconnaissance expedition. They defeat army after army, crossing the Caucasus Mountains, defeating coalitions of enemies, and eventually encountering the princes of Kiev and Rus. In 1223, the two forces meet at the Battle of the Kaukar River. The Mongol army wins another overwhelming victory despite being vastly outnumbered. Then, instead of staying, your generals just simply turn around and ride home. European rulers barely understand what has happened. A mysterious army from the east appears, defeats everyone it meets, and then disappears again. It's like watching the trailer for a disaster movie without realizing the full film arrives years later. Back in Mongolia, your empire now stretches farther than anyone could have imagined during your childhood. Merchants travel under Mongol protection across enormous distances. Trade routes become safer in many regions than they had been for generations. Ideas, inventions, religions, languages, and technologies begin moving across Eurasia faster than ever before. Your empire is built through extraordinary violence, but it also connects civilizations that had previously been separated by vast distances. Even while campaigning, you remain surprisingly curious. You invite scholars, religious leaders, physicians, and advisors from many different cultures into your court. Rather than forcing everyone to follow one religion, you generally allow conquered peoples to continue practicing their own faiths as long as they remain loyal and pay tribute, of course. Practicality usually matters more to you than ideology. By 1226, one old enemy still remains, the Tangut Kingdom of Western Xia. You see, earlier they had accepted your authority, but later, when you asked for military support, they refused. You don't forget betrayals easily. If anything, your memory for revenge is almost suspiciously excellent. You launch one final campaign against Western Xia. The cities fall one after another as your army pushes relentlessly through the kingdom. Then, during the campaign, something happens. Exactly what it was remains one of history's great mysteries. Some accounts claim you fall from your horse while hunting. Others suggest you suffer injuries in battle. Some later legends even invent dramatic stories involving assassins or captured queens. Modern historians generally believe illness is the most likely explanation. Whatever the cause, your health steadily declines. Even while dying, you order the campaign to continue. Western Xia is finally defeated. In August 1227, after a lifetime spent riding across the greatest landmass on earth, you die. There is no glorious final battle, no heroic last charge, no dramatic duel, just illness during a campaign somewhere in the vast lands you spent your life conquering. Your burial immediately becomes a mystery. According to tradition, the soldiers escorting your body kill anyone they encounter along the funeral route to keep the burial location secret. Other stories claim horses trample the grave until it completely disappears into the landscape. To this day, no one knows with certainty where you were buried. Even in death, you remain hidden from the world. Your empire does not die with you. Your sons and grandsons continue expanding it until it becomes the largest contiguous land empire in human history, stretching from the Pacific Ocean deep into Europe and the Middle East. One of those grandsons, Kublai Khan, will eventually conquer all of China and establish the Yuan dynasty. Centuries later, historians still struggle to describe you with a single label. To millions, you were a ruthless conqueror, responsible for unimaginable destruction and the deaths of countless people. To others, you were a brilliant military strategist, a nation builder, and the man who united the Mongol tribes while reshaping Eurasian trade and communication. Both perspectives contain truth. You changed the course of history on a scale achieved by very few people before or since. The abandoned boy who once searched the frozen steppe for roots and fish ended up building an empire that permanently altered the map of the world. Not bad. Not bad at all for the child everyone thought would disappear into the grasslands.